So I have this new app that I'm building in PhotoStudio, and I just want to show how I'm kind of going about doing it. I call it PhotoStudio, but it really is actually a remix of Sean's post yesterday. As you can see, it's kind of similar to what he had going on. It's sort of like a light studio to relight a particular image, but I've sort of went ahead and make it a little bit more richer in terms of some of the other extra features that you might expect in a photo studio. And just before I even go into it, I just want to tell you what I did. I know his approach was kind of going with Cloud Code and doing it in Terminal. Another way to go about doing it is actually using something like Anti-Gravity, which is a Google IDE. Maybe it's not for everybody, but I particularly like kind of using this one because I get to have those conversations. You get to kind of pick your models. And as you can see, I've kind of exhausted a bunch of things here, but it just gives you a little bit more control in terms of when you're especially when you're trying to create features. You create things like walkthroughs and stuff for you, and you can really utilize the thinking properties. But anyway, I just want to show that this is another way that you can bring in that info, kind of connect the repo over and then build with anti-gravity. But anyway, the way I've set this one up now is I've added a couple extra features. One is a studio pattern. So as you can see, as I click on these, the camera actually shifts in different positions. And so sort of resembling what you'd expect in a photo studio to kind of do. All right. And then the other thing I've done is, as you can see, there's 3 lights. And these lights kind of going back to terminology in photography. This is one of them is called a key light, and this is usually your main light source, and it's the most brightest and dominant light source. The next one is a fill light, which is basically softer and dimmer. It's really just to kind of fill shadows and kind of create some lighting on some of the dark sides. And then the rim is always the backlight, and positioned behind the object, and really gives sort of like kind of a glowing effect in some of the contours around the edges and of the subject. And so you can really play around with this and change the color, for instance, and adjust intensities and stuff, as you can see. And they'll show up later once the photo is rendered. But you can play around with all this, and you can actually turn off, right? If you don't want a particular light, you can go from hard to soft. What another cool thing that I've done, which was actually was happening in the original projects, was when you press apply, let's say that's what you kind of want, it really captures all of the data that we just inputted as input. So for instance, all the positions of the camera, the colors, everything is being captured, and then that gets sent over in the continuation of the workflow to kind of generate the image. So essentially, like what you would expect, things like this. You have this original image over here, and then you got this optimized, as you can see, sort of like a light is behind her. I've obviously used different kind of colors, a little purple and sort of like a yellowish kind of color in the background to kind of optimize it. But you can see the difference really what that does. Here's another example. New York City. This is the original image, and this is the optimized image afterwards, or you can say the relighted image as well. And so here's an example of like what that would look like in this original picture that we're working with the T-Rex. As you can see, the lighting is sort of behind it, and we could have obviously done a lot more, but I just wanted to show you what I've been working on.